Hello, I'm Dawn Elsom. I'm here today in the showroom at C&C Kitchens. I'm going to show you another one of my healthy recipes in my series, and these are breakfast muffins. They are absolutely delicious as an alternative to breakfast. I'm sure your children, if you have any, would absolutely love them, and they are healthy. They're reasonably low in sugar because it's all natural sugars that I'm using from the dried fruits, and also they are reasonably low in fat, a lot lower in fat than a normal standard muffin. They're amazingly hot, they're nice hot and warm, so you can make them in advance and reheat them, and they're lovely served with yogurt or fresh fruit. So what I'm going to use first is all the dry ingredients, and you can use different types of flours, so you can experiment. I've got some coconut flour, which is going into the bowl first. And all my quantities of ingredients are in the description below when you want to make them, all the quantities for the recipe. And I've got some wholemeal flour as well, just to add that and introduce a little bit more fibre into the recipe. So high fibre flour and coconut flour. Now you can use any combination. You could just use, if you've got in the cupboard, plain flour, self-raising flour. If you've got plain, just add some bit of raisin agent. Otherwise, use self-raising if you can, just give it a little bit of rise. And then I've got a little bit of sugar. Now there's very little sweetness in that. The sugar is very limited. It's only 25 grams. And you've also got natural sweetness from dried apricots, which I have here, and also some raisins as well. Now, if your children, whoever you're making for, like cranberries, you can use cranberries or any other dried fruits such as mangoes. They work really well too. Some porridge oats, again, adding a little bit more fibre into the dish and a little bit of texture as well. That a good mix. I can smell the coconut actually from that flour. It smells lovely. You could in fact add a little bit of desiccated coconut as well if you wanted to give it a little bit more of a coconutty flavour. And I've got some nuts. Now I've got pecan nuts here, not too many, but add again a little bit of crunch, a little bit of flavour. If you haven't got pecan nuts in your cupboard, you could use walnuts or hazelnuts chopped. It really doesn't matter. Anything you've got in your store cupboard will work. And then I'm going to add all my liquid to this dry ingredients. Now, there's quite a lot of different ingredients here. I'm going to start with the yogurt. Now, the yogurt, again, keeps it very low fat. I'm using a plain coconut Alpro plant-based yogurt to keep it nice and healthy. But again, if you've got Greek yogurt or natural yogurt in the fridge at home, then you can use that if you wish. Coconut gives it a nice little flavour as well. And then I'm going to add just one beaten egg, and that goes in there as well, and some oil here, and the oil is mixed with a little bit of extra milk there. I might not need that because these are quite moist. I'm just going to use a little bit of that oil mixed with a little bit of milk as well. I might need a little bit at the end, so let's see how wet the mixture is when we've mixed it together. So one chopped mashed banana. Now bananas are very good way of using up those bananas that are in your fruit bowl that are going black that need to be used. And again, good source of potassium, good source of fibre. And last of all, we've all got the odd apple or carrot at home. Half a grated carrot and a small apple, which I've grated as well. Now, any apple, I've even grated the skin just to add a little bit more fibre from the skin of the apple. So, good way of using up that leftover fruit in the fruit bowl as well. So give that a good mix together. Took a little bit dry. I'm going to add a little bit more of this oil and milk liquid as well, just to make it nice and moist. Now with muffins, they don't need too much working. It's the same with any muffin because you want them to be quite moist and not dry, so don't mix them too much. It's not like you're beating in any air. They are quite a dense mixture. So as you can see, it's quite nice and moist. A little bit more of that oil and milk just to keep that mixture from drying out. And then we're ready to bake. I've already lined and oiled, I should say, a 12-hole muffin tin. Now, if you haven't got loose base ones, it doesn't matter. I find they're better going straight in the tin rather than in the cases, because sometimes they get stuck in those paper cases and they're very difficult to remove. I've just seen hiding down here my vanilla, so I'm just going to put a little bit of vanilla in there, just a teaspoon. Again, that gives it a nice vanilla-y touch to it as well. So mix that in first. And then I'm greased the muffin holes. Now, if you haven't got loose base ones, I was just going to say it doesn't really matter, because they will pop out nicely as long as you grease them and you've got a good non-stick muffin tin. They will come up nicely. Again, if you prefer to use the cake cases, then do try them, but they might be a little bit more difficult to remove. Now, these go into a hot oven, so I have already preheated my oven at 190. And they only take 20 minutes, so they don't take very long. Now, if you were having these for breakfast, what I would do is the night before is weigh out my ingredients, my dry and my wet, and don't mix them together until the morning. And then just mix them together and just bake them off in the oven. So on a Sunday morning, you've got some lovely hot muffins. The smell of muffins in the mornings is amazing, and they're nice and healthy as well. So it's just about enough to go into 12. The last little bit going in there. And just to top them off, just to make them a little bit more crunchy, give them a bit more texture, I've got some seeds, some sunflower seeds, some linseed seeds, and some pumpkin seeds mixed together. And these are just gonna go onto the top of the muffin before I cook them. Just a little sprinkling, just give a nice little crunch to the muffin, and they come out. Any seeds you have at home, doesn't matter. If you haven't got any, you can either use caraway seeds or sesame seeds if you wish. But if you haven't got any, you don't have to use them. And then they go into the oven on 190 for 20 minutes. So my breakfast muffins have come out the oven. They're lovely and golden brown and well risen, as you can see here. I'm just going to take them out and just serve them. You can serve them on a nice cake stand, or this is a lovely way to serve them for breakfast with some yogurt, with some fresh fruit and a little bit of dusting of icing sugar, just to finish them off. And that's a lovely, healthy, nutritious breakfast.